Hello and welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We are here every week talking movies largely inspired by the world of physical media, 4Ks and Blu-rays. My name is Kurt.
And I'm Sam.
We are also joined by our producer, Kimberly.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're back, baby.
Kurt, did you realize you just said Blu-rays? You give me shit about the way I pronounce stuff a lot on this show.
Blu-rays.
Wow, this is good.
Blu-rays.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight. Blu-rays. Blu-rays is a good example of something that it's like meant to be pronounced the way you tend to pronounce things, where you go down at the top and up at the end.
So this one's approved.
Blu-rays. Blu-rays. Blu-rays?
Today is a very special day for two reasons. Listeners of this show will know that at the end of our episodes, we put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that do not yet exist. And once upon a time, was this my wish?
I think it was. Is this the first time that we're doing a movie that was wished for?
Like a wish come true?
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Could be.
Might be.
We've had wishes come true already, but yes, this might be the first episode. I wished for No Country for Old Men, the Coen Brothers 2007 crime sort of pseudo-Western Cormac McCarthy adaptation fucking masterpiece to come out on 4K. It's one of the first Blu-rays I ever got.
Me too.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. I bought it off eBay.
Why? They were everywhere.
Yeah, but like there was a 2-disc Blu-ray that was out of print and hard to find. And so you could find like the single disc all over the place, but I wanted the bigger one.
With that killer slip sleeve.
Yeah.
It's like really great texture.
Yeah.
I sold mine recently to Amoeba.
Yeah, me too.
I probably got 8 cents for it. Yeah, so the wish came true. 4K Criterion came out in December, and we are here to talk all about it. And it's a special day because we're joined by my old pal / talented writer-director, Eric Thompson. Hi, Eric.
What's up, everybody?
Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You missed a detail. He shares your birthday. You guys are birthday twins.
He does share my birthday.
We do.
Oh, snap. Birthday brothers.
And guess what?
It's coming up.
That's today. When this episode releases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Our
It's
birthday.
today.
Happy
It's
birthday,
today.
Eric.
I forgot what day we were born.
Yes.
Yes, happy birthday to us.
You guys did it. Another year.
Another year.
Eric and I worked together in like 2010 at a little production company out in LA and have been pals ever since. As soon as we found out we had the same birthday.
Same year?
1 year apart.
We went to Chicago to film stuff at Lollapalooza, and I think that was kind of the...
Yep.
We were friendly prior to that, but that was really like the cementing of everything and learning the birthdays, and that we have like very similar, like we're young in... I don't know, are you the youngest in your siblings as well? I can't remember. You are.
Yes.
Youngest of many children and a lot of half siblings and a lot of similarities, a lot of crossovers.
It's true.
We're going to get into No Country for Old Men in a little bit. But Eric, I'm curious what your relationship is with physical media. I know you have one.
I got to field some questions to you guys because I got some stuff to figure out. So our office, we just built these shelves behind me yesterday. I got another shelf I have to build over here.
They look great. They look level. That's very important.
They're pretty good. It was hard. I have a big box of DVDs, not Blu-rays, no 4Ks, DVDs. What are you guys' feelings on DVDs? Do you still have them? Do you keep them?
Sam?
I have a couple on my shelf still, but mainly it's stuff that I have not been able to upgrade.
Yeah.
Now that I have like a really nice 4K OLED TV, DVDs kind of look like garbage on it. So I tend not to watch them very often. I'll keep them on my shelf as a reminder of stuff to upgrade or like wishes, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. I'm gonna go through the box and kind of sift through and see what can be upgraded. And I mostly just want to hang on to them because there's, every once in a while, like if I can't find something streaming, it's nice if I just have it.
Yes.
Or like, our internet was out for like a whole week and I couldn't watch shit other than what I had. So it's nice for those occasions. But yeah, I gotta do some upgrading.
That's a big part of this show, right? Is that we're always like, being able to curate your own library and your own playlists is like, for me, extremely important versus just like, being fed whatever's on Netflix at that time. I saw a statistic the other day that The oldest movie on Netflix is like 1980,
What?
Oh my God.
which is crazy.
That's upsetting.
Wow.
That is crazy. That can't be like all the time true.
No,
right?
no,
Like,
no, no, no. It's not all the time. Yeah. Because of like them acquiring titles and
Sure.
losing the rights to others. But yeah, like currently it was the oldest one was 1980.
Yeah, that's bizarre. But yeah, other than my big box of DVDs, I've got partly why we started adding shelves into a different room is I have two very small shelves that are overpacked with my Criterion and now expanding into other Blu-rays and 4Ks, and it is giving Aaron anxiety that they're going to break and fall off the wall. So I got to start shifting into here.
Yeah, I'm a chronic upgrader as far as DVDs go and Blu-rays now, sadly. It's like if there's a 4K out there, if there's a Blu-ray out there, I'm pretty quick to like discard the previous iteration of it.
I feel like you upgrade more often than you're buying new titles or like unseen titles.
Correct. I had a big DVD collection in college, and then pretty quickly I just like turned it into Blu-rays because it was happening so fast. Everything was getting upgraded. I feel like that's kind of a version of that is kind of where we're at with 4K now. It's not as rapid, but it is more and more. I'm like looking at my Blu-ray collection being like, shit, these 5 are coming out. I do watch pretty much everything on a projector, and the resolution when you spread it out, like that's kind of an irresistible quality, I guess, of Blu-ray and 4K is like they hold together way more than a DVD does that big. So, and I've been watching things like that for like 10 years now. So I don't know. DVDs quickly kind of went by the wayside for me. But respect, man. Either way, a physical media collection is a lot more personal and fun than a streaming.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep upgrading. I'm a sucker for cover art.
Yeah,
like that's like usually is what is driving my purchase decision. So there's movies that I would like to upgrade, but I like haven't found any like editions of them that I like particularly enjoy the cover art. So I'm like, I'll hold out and see if something comes out.
Did you get that crazy version of Pulp Fiction?
I did get that new one, yeah.
that like really big box.
Did it come out yet?
Yeah, I have it, yeah.
Is it awesome?
It's pretty sick. Yeah, it's got all manner of things inside of it that I never need and will never have any use of, but they're all cool.
They're there.
The cover art thing is like a big part of why I got a region free player, because there were so many European releases of movies that I just preferred the art and the box for. So I was like, you know what? Instead of waiting around for an American company to release this in the same way that I already seen it, I'm just going to be able to watch them, which was great, which was an awesome decision.
Eric, do you have a favorite label?
Like who like makes the movies you're talking about?
Yeah, especially since you like the artwork.
I've always been a Criterion man. Even movies that I've never even heard of, I've been tempted to buy literally just because of how fucking cool they look.
Yeah.
The packaging is just unbelievable.
I've mentioned it on the show before, but I mean, the genius of Criterion to me is their description of what the movie is on the back of the box without having any screenshots. It makes it sound like it's the most important movie ever made every time. And it leaves any actual visualization of it up to your imagination. I can't tell you how many blind buys I've made because of that strategy.
Yeah.
I would say Vinegar Syndrome's right up there doing the exact same thing. The way that whoever's writing copy for both Vinegar Syndrome and Criterion is just incredible.
But Vinegar Syndrome's website, at least, if you scroll through images of the artwork and stuff, eventually you get to screenshots, which Criterion's site doesn't do.
That's a fair point. There aren't screenshots on the case, though, the same way that Criterion is done.
Correct. And the screenshots did not stop me from buying Virtuosity.
Oh, you got it?
Which
oh my God.
I don't need. Does anyone need? Virtuosity is probably horrible, but stay tuned.
It's Denzel and Russell Crowe.
Yeah, is it awesome?
Probably, dude.
Russell Crowe plays like a virtual reality serial killer.
Yeah, I think so.
Eric, have you seen Virtuosity? You're nodding like a man who's seen Virtuosity.
I've seen scenes of it like back like when it was like on cable and shit at my parents' house. And it was like one of those like watching it and those two are in it. And I'm like, the fuck is this movie? I've never heard of this before.
Is it awesome?
It's very strange. It's very strange.
It's the same director as Lawnmower Man, right?
I don't know.
Or do I just keep comparing it to Lawnmower Man because the graphics are the same?
That's possible. You also have 4K, Eric?
I do.
What's your favorite 4K that you have?
I mean, now, probably No Country.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, we all liked Old Country for No Men.
Old Country for No Men.
No, man. Actually, that's the
that
most
in.
accurate title.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sam, what's your favorite 4K that you have? If you had to keep one.
Fuck, dude. If I had to keep one right now, I'd probably say, like off the top of my head, I'm saying the big box of Roadhouse from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Collector's item.
It's a great release. It's a beautiful box. It's the 4K itself looks incredible. They did such a good job with the transfer. What about you?
Oh my God. The $1 million question.
Asking who's his favorite child.
Yeah, truly.
Is the best 4K release Second Sight's The Hitcher?
Oh shit. I mean, yeah, it's up there. Second Sight is just...
Well, I'm like picturing my shelf in my head, and I found that quickly, but it's also gigantic.
I just picked up Hitcher from Umbrella.
Speaking of Umbrella, I haven't watched this yet, but I just got the limited edition Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah, I just got mine too.
That one is amazing. The packaging is amazing.
Did you get the big box of it, Kurt?
Yes.
Okay, I just got the single release.
I can't wait to watch that again. If I could only keep one,
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
honestly, Apocalypse Now,
Ooh,
which I didn't watch until like 2 weeks ago, and I've had it for years. The multi, cut version of it.
I own that because you talked me into buying it. And this edition that we have has the theatrical, the final, and the Redux.
And a Blu-ray of,
Hearts of Darkness.
yeah, the documentary about it. Yeah, that's probably my answer. Okay, the reason we have all gathered here today is to talk about Criterion's recent release of 2007's No Country for Old Men.
This is the first Criterion that I've bought at full price in a long time. I usually wait for sales, but we wanted to have Eric on and we wanted to do this movie. And I was like, you know what? Yes, worth it.
Worth it. This was, for me, I would say the most anticipated 4K of last year.
Really?
I was very excited for this. When did you guys first see this movie? Obviously, probably in the theater, but do you remember it? Was it a big one?
I think you and I saw it together.
I saw this movie at River East, and this will tell you whether you were with me or not, Sam, the first time. I watched this for the first time in Chicago at the AMC River East, in the front row, far left.
No.
And so it was horrible. I was looking, my head could not have been more straight up to the right. In fact, there's a shot, I called it out when we watched last night, Kim. There's a shot where Anton Chigurh breaks into a motel room and there's 3 guys in there that he kills with his silencer shotgun. And there's a wider shot of him after the fact, coming back out into the main part of the hotel room, and the bathroom is in the background. And one of these dudes is dead on the ground. And I remember you could see him breathing, but I was, it's a wide shot. This guy's tiny in the frame, but I was he was huge in front of me because I was 8 feet from this.
You really got to know him.
Yeah, I saw this in theaters. I was trying to remember what the experience was. I think I was just so overwhelmed by it. I knew who the Coens were, but I wasn't a super fan yet at that point. And I think even going in to see it, I wasn't thinking of it as a Coen Brothers movie. I was just this just looks like a badass movie. And then seeing it was just so overwhelmed by everything about it. I definitely liked it, but I don't think I even understood what I just watched.
Mm-hmm.
I remember feeling very, very similar.
Yeah.
And I was a pretty big Coen fan at that point, but it was it was so unlike anything that they had done up until that moment that I just remember being I don't think I understood that.
Yeah, exactly. I can remember the ending, the cut to black, and somebody sitting, an older couple sitting next to me being what?
Yeah.
that it just ended all of a sudden. They're waiting for more resolution to happen. It's nah, dog, that ain't coming.
The first time you see this movie, the ending pulls the rug out from under you in terms of how sudden it is. But
yeah,
obviously, I think we would all agree that it ends at an amazing moment. It's a very beautiful ending that it's especially if you have seen it and know it's coming, you can kind of appreciate it for that. But this came out in 2007.
What a year. It was either 2 weeks after or 2 weeks before There Will Be Blood.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Which was another one that I saw There Will Be Blood at the ArcLight with my brother. And that was another one that was just walking out of it was what the hell did I just see?
Yeah.
That one admittedly took me longer to
get
and love. And
Yeah.
honestly, I love it more than this one now. But they are obviously both just utter masterpieces in their own ways. Have you heard the story of while they were shooting this movie, No Country, that they had to like basically either like reposition the way a scene was blocked or like stop down for the day because deep in the background of their frame, the smoke from the burning oil derrick of There Will Be Blood was getting into their shot because they were filming so close together.
They're so kind of similar in a way.
Yeah.
There's like such a similar, I mean, obviously different, masters behind the camera, but yeah, tonally, and it's very similar.
There's something that adds to the magic of both of them, that they were literally being filmed at the same time within miles of each other. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember the 2008 Oscars were like, basically these two movies were pitted against each other. It was No Country versus There Will Be Blood. I think part of the other piece of that like magic is the fact that they're both kind of like revisionist Westerns in a way, but like very traditional in other ways. I remember seeing No Country for the first time and liking it and being a little like confused by the ambiguity of the ending, but also being like, I don't know, it was kind of slow. And while I was watching it this time, it's like not slow in any way.
Yeah, not at all.
Like at all.
I mean, we should talk about it a little bit, what it's about. This is based on a novel by Cormac McCarthy. The story is essentially takes place in 1980 in West Texas. It's about a man who, while hunting elk, stumbles upon a like drug deal gone wrong with a bunch of dead bodies in the middle of the desert. He follows like a blood trail to the dead body of a man who has like, died while escaping with a suitcase full of money from this drug deal gone wrong. And this hunter, played by Josh Brolin, thinks about it for a minute and takes the cash. And the rest of this movie is him being chased down by...
basically like Michael Myers. It's like an unstoppable killing machine.
Yeah, Javier Bardem, who plays Anton Chigurh, and he is just like an unstoppable force carrying either a silenced shotgun or what is it? It's like a to kill cows. A
cattle gun.
Cattle gun, yeah.
Yeah.
On my shirt here.
Yeah, Eric's wearing a t-shirt with Anton Chigurh.
I came ready today.
Holding this cattle gun to a poor man's head.
Punching a hole through a man's forehead.
Yeah. No big deal. Everyone's got one.
Ugh, he's so scary.
And then they are being collectively chased by a kind of local sheriff played by Tommy Lee Jones, who is nearing the end of his career, meditating on how the world of violence and drugs have changed the landscape of law enforcement and, being a person since he started and generations before him, as cops basically and his family have dealt with things.
I watched a lot of the supplemental materials on the disc and then dug into some other interviews. There's some, what's his name? Bill Hader did the rewatchables with this, and his insight on it is incredible too. But he talks about it, and the Coens talked about it a little bit in one of the interviews of just how kind of useless Sheriff Bell is the entire, like he's literally always like two steps behind everything that happens.
Yeah.
Which, obviously serves the point of it. Like he's not capable of dealing with this stuff anymore, but it is just this funny recurring thing that he's just always late to everything that happens.
Yeah.
And his deputy is like even
more late.
He's always Garrett Dillahunt. Yeah, is like one step behind.
Garrett Dillahunt.
He's so good in it.
So funny.
That performance is just one of the best. All his little one-liners.
When he basically like smacks himself in the head, he's like, "Oh, Sheriff, we just missed him.
We just missed him."
Like a little cartoon character.
Truly.
A true Coen character.
One interesting fact about Brolin is his role was originally offered to Heath Ledger.
Was it really?
And I think he turned it down to do The Dark Knight.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also heard that Sam Rockwell was in talks for a period, and Mark Strong was in talks for Anton Chigurh.
Interesting.
Which are both very interesting. It's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
And obviously they made the right decisions.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think about.
I mean, this really catapulted Josh's career.
Yeah, definitely.
He had been in stuff, he was in the Goonies when he was young, and he'd been in like little bit parts here and there, but this was like a huge break for him.
I remember there was an article that came out. I can't remember who published it, but when this movie came out, that it was the return of the American badass was his like coming out of this movie. It was like, oh, we have our new American star again.
Which is a very like almost a misread of
The movie.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, for sure.
But that's funny.
It's a funny misread because it's also how Llewellyn sees himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks he's the ultimate badass and he can't be stopped. And then it's just like, sorry, dude.
Yep.
You guys know the story of him, his audition and all that stuff.
Tarantino?
Yeah, he was working on Planet Terror, and Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez shot his audition tape on that set and sent it in, and the Coens famously were like, we're not interested in this guy, but who the hell shot this audition? It looks incredible. And then apparently Brolin like followed up and was like begged to have like an in-person session with them, and went in and did some line readings with them. And I guess walking out of the room, they were both like, oh yeah, that's our guy.
That's awesome. Also, Kelly MacDonald in this movie is so good.
Incredible.
Oh my God.
She
Incredible.
plays Josh Brolin's wife.
The scene with them in the trailer, kind of before everything goes completely wrong, is just makes me laugh so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe I heard Brolin at one point say that he suggested that whole thing be just that two shot of them on the couch. I don't know. I can't remember if that's true or not, but I believe he was kind of like, what if it's just us sitting here, just not looking at each other and just talking, that scene is incredible. There's also, I don't know if you guys have read the book.
I have, yeah.
The book is great. And it's incredible what the Coens did with the adaptation. Like it's very faithful, of course, but like what they chose to omit from the book, it's, you have one of the best American novelists of all time, and then two of the best screenwriters of all time combining on this story, where it's like they're perfectly taking out what needs to be said and then leaving all this extra stuff out. And that scene in particular made me think of it because it's the one time that I've read something from Cormac where I'm like, really? That's what you wrote in here? He has a that's what she said joke in that scene.
Oh my God.
The book was published in like 2005, I think. And I was like, but it takes place in the 80s and it just feels so like anachronistic, where I'm like, that you really tried to drop that joke in there. And thankfully they were smart enough to cut that out.
What a weird choice. What a weird choice to put that in.
The book is incredibly like lean though, from what I remember. It almost reads like a script.
I've never read the book. I've read other books of his, but I've not read this one, mainly because by the time I had seen the movie and was like, oh, I'm gonna read the book, everyone was like, it's pretty spot on the exact same thing.
Apparently it was a script originally. He had started it as a script and then switched to a novel, which it makes a lot of sense looking at it because it is so sparse compared to his normal writing style.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go on to write The Counselor as a script. My beloved The Counselor.
Fuck The Counselor so hard. And that HBO movie with Tommy Lee and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, the Sunset Limited.
Yeah, Sunset Limited.
That was a play.
Yeah.
It was a two-hander play. That's a really, really good read if you guys haven't. I mean, the book of it is just the play, there's like just dialogue, but it's very good.
I remember not being super impressed with the HBO movie, so I'd be into reading the script, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one thing that I need to point out about this 4K, which just made me laugh the minute I put it on, is that the Criterion menu screen.
Yeah.
You put it in and it says up in the top right corner, it says No Country for Old Men, a Coen Brothers film, but the font of all that makes it look like it's going to be this lighthearted American, I wouldn't say comedy, but just a more of a Coen Brothers-esque movie. And this is not that movie at all. And so I was like, wow, I don't find Criterion does that very often, but I was like, what a choice that they made to make the menu that way. Because it's just it's really quiet music that kind of comes up, because this movie's almost silent of music.
Yeah, other than the credits, basically.
Yeah. And they put this little, I think it's the credit music over the menu, but it makes it look like it's going to be like a almost like boys finding themselves in the American West movie.
Is it not?
Which it is, yeah, in a way.
They talk about that in there's the one interview on the disc that's Megan Abbott interviewing them, which is like about as close as you'll get to them doing a commentary on the movie.
Yes, and this was made for the Criterion. This one. There's a lot of legacy special features, but this one's new.
I'm still bummed that there is not a commentary of them, but they go pretty in depth in that interview. But they talk about that, about the score, and how Ethan, I think, suggested it when they did an early screening of it that didn't have any music, and they were like talking about it, and he was just like, I don't think this movie has music over it. And then still went to Carter Burwell, their usual composer, and asked him to do something for the credits. And he was like, based on what? Like, we haven't done anything.
I heard a story that during the premiere, as the credits start to roll, it says music by Carter. And I heard a story that he stood up and was like, what? Like, I didn't do anything for this.
That's great.
There is like an incredible little cue that happens at the very end of the sort of prologue monologue VO that Tommy Lee Jones does, where he's like, okay, I'll be a part of this world. And it like, there's a tiny little sting while the camera like booms up and you see the cars go through the frame.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very haunting. But other than that, I can't. Either it has no music or there's nothing I remember in it.
I was trying to pay attention to it this time, and I really don't think there is anything.
I think it's just like tonal stuff that they did with the environment. They made kind of soundscapes with wind and things like that. But yeah, I don't think there's like actually music to speak of.
Yeah. It had been a minute since I had sat down and watched this. I like have, watched clips of it here and there, but it had been a minute since I sat down and watched it start to finish. And it is so good. I'd forgotten just how like rich the screenplay is with like subtle little lines here or there, or like the, Tommy Lee Jones going to see his old friend like out in the kind of just wasteland of Texas, and that conversation that the two of them have.
It's his brother, isn't it?
Is it?
I think it's like a cousin or something like that. It's definitely relation. Yeah. There's family ties.
Yeah. He talks about family news.
Right.
Tommy Lee Jones is like, didn't know there was any.
Well, I also read that as like your wife's calling just to like give me, just the check-in, that like type of family news.
That's one of my favorite line readings in that whole movie is that guy, the saying, Loretta says you're quitting. And he's like, how come you're doing that? There's something about the way that guy talks and that's, again, the Coens, like their casting of like extras in films, and this one in particular, but like it's always the case, like every extra in every movie they do is unbelievable, but this one is just like unbelievable. The woman that runs the trailer park where Llewellyn lives, that Sugar goes in to talk to, is like, that woman is like burned into my brain. Again, speaking of line readings, we can't give out no information. It's like, what is happening with your voice right now? Incredible.
The way he looks, Sugar looks to the sound of a toilet flushing.
Yes.
That there's someone else in that office, and that's why he doesn't just fucking ice this lady.
Only reason that she doesn't die.
Yeah.
Which is funny because she kind of is the only person that stands up to him and gets away with it.
Yeah.
Let's highlight it. Anton's hair, man. That hair on Javier Bardem is the most just comedy thing in the world.
So in this new interview with the Coens and Megan Abbott on this Criterion, they get into kind of the origins of Chigurh's look. I believe she's like, is it true that he's based on Lon Chaney? And they show, I forget what film it is, Eric, but I
can't remember the title of it. Yeah, but
like an old silent film of Lon Chaney, and they do like a side by side of him with Chigurh, the shot of Chigurh like strangling the cop who arrests him at the beginning, where his eyes are just like bugging out and his hair is like on the ground and all wild.
He's basically having an orgasm.
Yeah. And they look exactly like each other. And the Coens are like, no, actually, we never thought of that. And it's just like an internet rumor. And they explain where they got his look. There's a book that was published, photographs from the 80s that were taken at like a brothel on the border, where part of the deal that customers, Johns, would get is they'd get one photograph like with a prostitute, right, to take with them. And somebody found the negatives of all these pictures of prostitutes in their Johns, like, and published it as like an art book. And there's a picture of a guy on this border town in the 80s, and he looks exactly like
Incredible,
like
dude.
Same haircut,
same jacket, same haircut.
Yeah,
That's so cool. That's awesome.
and they show it on the Criterion. It's awesome.
Maybe he's still out there.
He's
might be,
probably
man.
out there.
There's another in that interview. One of the things that stood out to me the most is they talk about doubling in the movie and how many times there's characters overlapping doing the same actions. And the most apparent one is the switch from Anton to Llewellyn for the first time, which is Anton, when he punches the hole through the guy's head, he says, "Would you hold still, please?" And then it cuts to Llewellyn looking through the scope at the antelope. And right before he shoots it, he says, "Hold still."
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many moments like that throughout the movie of, Anton sitting on the couch and seeing his reflection in the TV when he drinks the milk. And then Tommy Lee does the exact same thing. And it's just this constant repetition.
It's just like an incredibly rich movie. I mean, Roger Deakins shot it. It looks incredible. The stakes are like big, but also kind of small in the scheme of everything. Like, I love the Woody Harrelson basically cameo. He's in it for so short, but I like.
And Stephen Root.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
so good.
It's like in perfect Coen fashion. I wouldn't say it's like the movie's not overly violent, but the violence in it is like really violent.
It's fucking violent. Yeah.
When he breaks into that motel room and shoots those three dudes, the first guy who gets shot, his like arm is like hanging off his body.
Nearly
like,
severed.
Yeah.
Kurt made us watch that like 3 times. I was like, okay, I got it. I don't want to see this anymore. This is so upsetting.
The arm nearly getting severed is violent enough, but the way that his body flies back from the second shot, and then the next guy that gets hit in the bathroom, it's the same thing. Like, the way that they're propelled is so violent. It's insane.
And it's contrasted with like the fact that this shotgun, which is not a gun you often see with a silencer, like it has a silencer on it. So there's something like very perverse and like not traditionally like action movie satisfying about the sound that leads into these people getting blown apart.
I feel like they're chuckling behind the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like a joke to them, which is
I mean, he literally like
why I love them so much.
puts a shotgun into a shower with a guy who's like, a guy's like, "Please don't kill me," and he like very slowly just closes the shower curtain to shoot him, and it's like you like watch blood explode onto the shower curtain.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
Your point of them laughing behind the camera, that is just such, like, the Coens are so, I don't know, nihilistic, and like they're so mean to their characters in all of their movies.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, they really, really mean to characters in their movies, and it's really unique because they balance everything so well with like bizarre humor.
Yeah.
Like this movie is fucking hilarious. There's so many funny parts.
I think every movie they make is a comedy. Like I think I read something years ago, but how they write, their writing process is Ethan will write most of it and then he'll bounce it back with Joel. But if they're not laughing, then it's like, oh, we got to rewrite this. Like they just like to like make each other laugh, and you can feel that even in this really dark film. It actually felt the most similar to Blood Simple in a way, like tonally.
I need to rewatch that.
It's so good.
I was thinking a lot about it during this watch through.
Also an excellent Criterion 4K.
Yeah.
Blood Simple.
Where does this one sit with your guys' like ranking of Coen Brothers movies? Is this your favorite? Is it not? What is your favorite if this is not?
It's like neck and neck with Fargo for me.
Okay.
And they're actually like a really fun little like pairing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Minnesota, so there's something about Fargo where it like hits the humor, like hits very close to home, but it's also like I can't fully see it from the outside in a way where this one, I felt like I can see it from the outside, and I feel like they deal with the regions in a similar way, their sense of humor.
Yeah.
This one obviously being Texas. And Kim, I feel like you have the exact opposite experience.
They capture Texas so well, and in Blood Simple, I believe. I was like telling Kurt, I was like, I'm really craving a Sprite right now, because I felt like I was in my childhood, like in those diners or like in those like little, just the buildings or the motels. Like, it just felt very nostalgic for me.
Eric, what about you?
Anytime I'm hard pressed to just say my favorite movie in general, not just Coen's.
Sure.
This is my go-to.
Wow.
I've watched, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think I've watched it over 50 times.
Wow.
That's awesome.
There was a period of a couple years where, like, disturbingly enough, this was my going to bed movie. I would just put it on.
Hell yeah.
I would put it on every night and just watch, 30 minutes of it before falling asleep and then pick it up the next night. I've never gotten tired of it. It's so entertaining. It's thought provoking. It's gorgeous. Like, it's an unbelievable movie. But it's hard to rank their movies because I love them so much. Like, A Serious Man, Inside Llewyn Davis, like, all of those could be in my top 5, like, they're all so good.
My personal favorites are Raising Arizona and The Hudsucker Proxy. I know they're like,
oh,
wow.
but I love those movies.
I love Raising Arizona. Hudsucker, I kind of completely forgot about until you just said it.
Oh, I love Hudsucker. I think it's so underrated. They partnered with Sam Raimi on Hudsucker Proxy, and it's so unique and strange and such like a
screwball movie.
Yeah, but it's a throwback to what I love, which are old films from the 30s and 40s and 20s even. So anyway, that's just a great romp.
Yeah.
Something I thought about when you were talking about them, the Coens making each other laugh, because that's every story of them on set. That's what everyone talks about, is like, they're very collaborative and they work well with everybody, but they're also always snickering to each other, like, and it's like they're little kids, like, having fun all the time.
Exactly.
Well, especially the movie they do after this is Burn After Reading, which is like a pretty slapsticky comedy,
right?
Like,
completely opposite.
Right. Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
It's such a good one.
So silly.
It's so fucking funny, dude.
I just rewatched that on the plane recently. What a great plane movie. It is just
Brad Pitt dancing in the car.
Oh my God.
Dude.
So funny.
It's so good.
There's a funny story about Brolin on No Country, the scene when he finds the money, his response to, like, seeing it, because it's exactly what he expects to find, is a big satchel of money. Mm-hmm. And his response is just this non-verbal, like, just like a little noise. And the story is him talking to Ethan, I think. He's like, what if this time it was more of like and it's like almost the exact same thing, but Ethan's like, oh yeah, that's interesting, let's try that. And, like, they do, like, so many takes of basically the same thing, of him just doing different grunts. And then Brolin said that during a screening of it, that moment came up and he could just hear Ethan laughing across the theater. And it's just like, he's just fucking with him, like, the whole time. Like,
so good.
It's so great.
Yeah, can we get them to partner up again and, like, churn out a couple more flicks, please?
Allegedly, they're doing a horror.
Whoa.
Is their next. Ethan has one more movie coming out that he did with his wife after that last one, the Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah.
They have one more coming out, which I think is like a pseudo sequel, or like at least in the same universe.
2 Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah, like a spiritual sequel, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same characters. But then, allegedly Joel and Ethan are gonna do a movie, and I've heard that it's a horror, which is fascinating.
Hell yeah.
This 4K looks amazing. You mentioned Roger Deakins, just one of the greatest cinematographers working, and, like, so much of it is daytime, just like bright desert shots that just in 4K HDR, it's just so immersive. And it's always so fun to revisit a movie you've seen 50 times, for example, and see it in a way that you've never really seen it before, or not since, it opened.
Right.
Yeah, this was a real treat.
Dread is not the right word, but I was like, I busy week, and I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta watch No Country. And I actually didn't watch it till this morning, but watching it this morning, I was like, why was I even thinking that this was a chore in any way? Like, this movie is so fucking good, and it's such a treat to be able to watch something like this, especially just in the comfort of my own home. Like, this new Criterion looks incredible, as Kurt just said. It was so fun to revisit it. I think it'd probably been about 10 years since I'd seen it, if not longer.
Oh my God, really?
Wow. It was about the same for me. Yeah.
It had been a while.
Yeah.
And it's packed. Like, there's tons of legacy special features. There's a fun one called An Incredibly Unauthorized Documentary, which is like a 10-minute behind the scenes made by Josh Brolin on the set and after the fact, like interviewing the cast. And it's very like, just quick little clips that give you visuals from behind the scenes that are really fun.
That has like all these interviews that are like kind of set up of like them talking about how awful the shoot was.
Uh-huh.
Like there's like Javier Bardem at one point being like stop the camera, kind of thing, and then continuing to talk shit about the Coens.
Yep.
This was really his first big break into American movies, right? I guess he's in Collateral.
Javier.
Collateral's. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's before this.
Yeah.
How long after was the Bond movie?
That's like
'Cause I feel like-
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's several years, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for sure.
Which I think is kind of the other piece of this movie of why it worked so well was like, I mean, especially Javier, it's like you don't know this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something more dangerous about that, where it's like, this is not somebody I recognize. You can't really pin down where he's from. Like his accent is like all over the place and purposefully, but he's clearly foreign, but I can't figure out from where.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think Sam put it well. He is sort of a modern day boogeyman in a sense, like Michael Myers. Like him with the coin toss at the gas station.
That scene is so funny, dude. I was laughing so
good.
much.
It's so good.
Well, and there's a line or the scene with Tommy Lee Jones and the other old sheriff, the big burly dude with the mustache that talks about the kids with bones in their noses and all that shit.
Green hair.
The end of that scene, Tommy says something about that he's like, I'm not even sure this guy exists. Like he's like a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And that really alludes to that same exact thing of like, he is this boogeyman that kind of comes in and out of existence.
Well, they're two flips of the same coin. I mean, that's what that haunting scene is at the door with the motel doors. They see each other, but they don't.
Right.
It's
right.
It's very beautiful.
I have two questions here. Well, actually, I have one comment and one question. The sound design when the lock flies into Josh Brolin's chest is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because it hits him and he's kind of like, oh, and it's just like, God, yeah, because that thing would come out at like speed, like that would suck to get hit with that. My question though is at the end after the shootout that we don't see has happened, Tommy Lee Jones leaves that dinner that you guys were just talking about and goes back to the motel room, and he's waiting at the door, and we see Anton in a closet, I'm pretty sure. My question is where is he? Is he in that room that Tommy Lee Jones goes into?
He's next door, isn't he?
He's in the next door.
He's in the next room. Okay.
So I've had this debate several times.
Okay.
And where I've landed on it is that he is not there at all. So what you're seeing, Tommy Lee Jones is looking at the punched out lock.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And in that lock, there is enough of a reflection that you could kind of see that possibly a person is there.
Yeah.
And so he thinks he's seeing Anton in there. And then what you're seeing of Anton is the reflection off of the gold cylinder on his face, as if he's standing right behind the door inside that room. But I don't think he's there at all. And my main argument for that is, why would this guy who's had no problem killing hundreds of people suddenly be hiding from the sheriff and not pop out and kill him? Like, why would he stay in hiding?
So you think it's...
And he clearly was in that room at a point.
Yeah.
Because he punched out the lock, he opened the vent with the dime and all that stuff. Like, I think he was there, but it goes back to the thing of Tommy Lee Jones and this boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
It's his full realization of, I need to retire. I can't handle this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time he takes his gun out in the movie.
Yeah.
Because he's so nervous, and then he willingly goes into the room and it's empty, and then he just sits on the bed, and it's kind of this like acceptance.
So it's like Tommy Lee Jones is like fear personified. It's like he's picturing him being right behind the door, ready to kill him when he walks in.
That was my interpretation. Yeah.
Got it. Because there was like a moment where I was like, man, I don't really remember this. I was like, there's not a shootout. I know that. And then when he walks into the room and it's totally empty, I was like, I just got confused for a hot second.
Which is kind of another incredible thing about this movie is like none of these characters ever run into each other. The closest you get is Brolin and Chigurh's shootout, but the closest they get is within 15 feet of each other. Yeah. They never like really are face to face.
So this movie won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actor for Javier Bardem at the Oscars in 2008. Here's some other movies up for Oscars in this ceremony.
The best film year ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obviously, There Will Be Blood. Michael Clayton.
Wow.
Atonement. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Wow. Also pretty similar.
American Gangster.
Big year.
Sure.
I'm Not There. Tilda Swinton from Michael Clayton beat Cate Blanchett, which Michael Clayton fucking rules. Tilda Swinton rules. Cate Blanchett and I'm Not There is maybe one of the greatest performances of all time. What a year.
Has there been a year that comes even close to it since?
Right. Well, this is also Zodiac came out that year too.
Oh, shit. Yeah, good call.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
in 2007?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like 2007 and 99 are like the most like stacked years.
That's crazy, man.
Anything else on No Country for Old Men?
I mean,
Old Country for No Men.
Yeah, the old country for no men.
I mean, I could talk about it for hours.
I know.
I just want to go watch it again.
Yeah, I know. I was like just thinking about just putting it on again.
Yeah.
A running joke in my friend group from my friend Brian that he always jokes at the end of the movie of them dropping the title in of Tommy Lee Jones he tells his dream sequence, and then his last line is, and then I woke up, and then Brian extends it to, and I realized this is no country for old men.
And I realized.
Incredible.
And then a hard metal song starts playing.
Yeah. Metallica.
That'd be incredible. Yeah, it just goes straight into Saint Anger by Metallica.
Okay, before we go, it is time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that do not yet exist. And Eric is still here.
Here I am.
And he's going to wish with us. Eric, you get to go first as our honored guest.
I wish for a Criterion release of There Will Be Blood.
I wish for a 4K of Killing Them Softly.
I was also going to wish for There Will Be Blood, so I'm going to pivot and ask for a 4K of The French Connection.
Sam, I think this got announced. This is coming.
The French Connection?
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh shit, man. Really?
I know that they've restored it in 4K and it might be a theatrical run first, but I think it's like pretty much guaranteed to come out this year.
Awesome. I wished for William Friedkin's Jade last episode, and so why not keep the train rolling with French Connection? Another one that I've been really wanting to rewatch and revisit because it's been a long time. So please, Kurt, did you wish for There Will Be Blood at one point?
I don't know if I have. Certainly in my waking life, I wish for it constantly. Eric, there was rumors that it was going to come out this past year, not on Criterion, I don't think, but
yeah, sure.
I feel like a 4K is inevitable.
I'll take whatever. But that's, like I was saying before, that's another one that I have. The only copy of it I have is a DVD, which...
It's like that papery one?
Yeah, it's like a cardboard case that almost looks like what you would get as like a screener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my only copy of that movie. And I've been waiting for some cooler version of it to pull the trigger on.
Just a masterpiece. I mean,
I would take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, and Killing Them Softly.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
mentioned on the 4K of No Country for Old Men.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah.
They bring it up.
They talk about how in the same way that Tommy Lee Jones is useless, they talk about
Gandolfini
in that movie, that he just shows up and gets drunk and bangs a hooker and does nothing else.
Yeah.
What else is there to do?
I've definitely talked about that scene.
Yeah, it's come up on the show a couple times.
Yeah. I don't think I've wished for it yet, but yeah, this is Andrew Dominik's follow-up to The Assassination of Jesse James. It stars Brad Pitt as a hitman for the mob and is kind of all about corporate America and politics of 2012, I think is when it came out.
Yeah, that's another adaptation.
It is. I think the book is called Kogan's Trade.
Yeah.
And it's just really lean and mean and violent and stylized and, just a killer cast. Brad Pitt, Scoot McNairy, Ray Liotta, James Gandolfini,
Ben Mendelsohn,
and underrated, I think.
One of the best heroin montages of all time.
Don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Really? Oh my God. It's so upsetting.
It's playing Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like their song about heroin, and it's this repeated dolly-in that like every time he nods off, it like jump cuts back and then like keeps pushing in again, and it like keeps happening over and over.
I'm so mad that Kurt didn't warn me of that scene because I'm very sensitive to needles and anyway, I was so fucking mad. I was like, how am I watching this right now? This is so upsetting.
You kind of need to like take a shower after you watch Killing Them Softly.
It's nasty.
It feels gross.
It's a dirty movie.
I might watch it tonight, dog.
Okay, that is it for another episode. Thank you so much to our honored, beloved guest, Eric.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Eric.
having me.
You requested this episode, and we were thrilled to have you.
Happy to deliver.
Great fun, guys.
That was great.
A big thank you to Patrick Laban for our music. Thank you to Kimberly for producing. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt. Thanks, guys.
Everybody watch out for cattle prods. Cattle prods? Is that what it's called?
Cattle gun?
Cattle gun.
Cattle gun?
Yeah, cattle prod I think is a different thing.
Wait, did you just catch a fly with your bare hands, Sam?
Yeah,
What are you,
I did.
Renfield?
I did catch a fly with my bare
That's
hands.
insane.
You guys.